Shalom, everyone. The Father is moving fast and hard on this new Facebook page and new YouTube channel. How is he moving fast and hard? Some of the things you're saying in the posts, some of the questions you're asking, and mostly the fear that I'm seeing in you, although the questions or comments might not show them so much, but I feel each and every one of you. And then he's moving. There's nothing to fear. We read that many are called, but few are chosen, as it is written. You have a Bible, but it is not complete, regardless of what the liars in Christian religions and others say. The reason why there are empty spaces in the books, in other words, why you have beliefs and why you think it means this or why you think it means that, is because they took out a number of books and hid them, called the Apocrypha. They say they're not ordained or sanctioned or any. Who are they to sanction? One very important book that they left out that ties up a lot and makes the Bible make sense and stops your interjection of beliefs. You go, oh, now I see, is the book of Enoch. So we'll go there, and this will give the explanation and reason and understanding why people are called, many, and why you few are chosen. My father has me spit this out for many reasons what I'm about to say, and it is true, and it is facts. And if it be not, I am the most damned man in creation, or being next to Lucifer, and I am not. I've always been a man. My name is Gabriel, the man. I know all these prophecies and everything else in the animal beast and all the things I say because it is written in Revelations that there will be 3 angels. You people are waiting for us to come through the sky. We are not. We are just a whole world where social media. So now, at one point when you read in Enoch, he says, Gabriel, go get Enoch and bring him up here. He will stand in your place while you're gone. You see, me, Michael, and Raphael are the 3, but then we're also 3 of the 4 before the throne. We're also 3 of the 7. There's me, Michael, Raphael of 3. There's me, Michael, Raphael, and Uriel of the 4, and so on going into the 7, and then on back. We have multiple jobs. We are not important. We are not to be looked up to. We're just brothers and sisters like Christ, like you, all of us. We're both men and angels. So now, when he told me to do this, I went down and got Enoch, and I'm never nice. You'll see I swept him over like a feather because he was giving me a hard time. I slapped Zachariah across the face when I was talking about his wife having John being born. Daniel was always shaking, and I'm always a man, and I'm always the man in linen. This serves 2 purposes. One, it is the truth. And all the words I say, nobody can dispute, and you never see it in comments below. Unless it's some fool who just likes to argue and debate, and that's very rare to none. At that time, he said, well, Enoch stands in my place. Now you know what Moses is. Moses stands in Michael's place when he's not there. And Elijah stands in Raphael's place. Those 3 places cannot be vacant. Those 3 men are there. It was given for Enoch to stand in my place, and therefore when you understand my position and the jobs that I have, only because of my time in creation and the time that we were created, that's why we have our jobs. Doesn't mean we're special, it doesn't mean we're anything else. Just like Christ, he'll tell you the same thing. He's the only begotten Son. He didn't ask the Father to create him. The Father chose to create him, so he is the first among us. He's our older brother. He is the truth and the way, and he came to show you. He is the one who created you, but he is not the Most High God. That being said, now, how does this many are called and few are chosen go? Well, as I stood him there, Father chuckled because of the way I brought him up, got him cleaned up, and then he stood. And Father said to him, Enoch, I'm about to tell you what the angels don't even know. We were listening because we knew he was going to go back before our creation, because we didn't know nothing about that, only from the time we were created forward, even today. And he told Enoch, Enoch, before all of this, and before there was any of this, of the earth and men and women, of the heavens and angels, it was just me. And I was creating from the high things, and I was creating from the low things. I was creating from the darkness, and I was creating from the light. I was creating from the good, and I was creating from the evil. And as I created, he was doing this and that. And then he would say, after he would create, say, a creature or a thing, and then he would build around that, and then he'd say, destroy yourself. And they would destroy themselves. And then he would start again doing things. Well, at one point, as he says, he decided to make a creation that would sustain, and that he would sustain. And this creation would be of men and women, and first of angels, of male and female, with a heaven and an earth. And before he ever began, he thought, and he looked, and he decided, I'm going to give them free will. And I will give them all these things of good and evil, the darkness and the light, the good and the bad, so they can choose for themselves what they desire. It wasn't a trick, like comedians saying everything else. He wasn't going to make a creation of prisoners. He was going to make a creation of his ways, and the people who loved his ways, the ways that Christ showed. He came in the name of the Father. The name of the Father is the Father's character, his ways in heaven. Christ's name is his character. When you ask for things in his ways, giving, loving, there's no money involved. There's no selfishness involved. There's no I want and I need. There's no envy. You understand? We'll move on. So picture the Most High in a simple term that you can grasp in your mind, sitting back on a chair with his feet on the ottoman. He says, okay, before I do this thing, and he explained this to Enoch. And he sat back and he watched from the beginning, creation of Christ, and all the way through, and how he would do this. And he watched the free will of the angels, both male and female, and he watched the free will of men, both male and female. This is why it is written, he loves both good and evil. He has created both good and evil, and both will dwell together for a while and prosper. So as he watched through this from start to finish, and he got to man and watching through the generations and women, he's seen then who would choose him. He's seen you, the real true ones, who hunger and desire after the truth of the way of life, how we live, how we don't judge, how we walk together as one in peace, with never any discourse or disagreement, never a debate, just peace and beauty. And we go on into eternally like this. There's no destruction. And he's seen those from start to finish who would truly choose him and desire his ways and fight and struggle for his ways. Fight and struggle to get rid of the envy. Like, look at that house. I'd like to have that when I grow up. The things that you were indoctrinated to as children throughout the generations. That as you grew up and you became aware, and you became aware of him, and later as Christ came, you became aware of him. But in the Old Testament before him, David, Solomon, Ezekiel, Zechariah, Zephaniah, they desired him. They desired that way of life, but they didn't see it around them. And that's why they've always been persecuted and hated, and you and I today. Because our way of life is not their way of life. They don't trust. They're always questioning, always wondering. always judging, always trying to be better than somebody. So then when he backed up and he actually made the creation, and now that you're here, you are the chosen. But many are called. Why? Because there's hope that all be saved. So a lot of you, or you're not chosen. You've been called, so you have a chance. And you study the Word. And then you come out and you beg for money. He didn't show you that. They never asked, nobody, no prophet, apostle, or Christ ever asked, or had to say anything, and never asked for anything. And yet they lived, they ate, they were clothed, they were housed. I know this is hard for you to understand, how can this be? But until you actually jump off that cliff and unplug from this world, you will never see or understand like I do. I have nothing. I was homeless till I came here. I was wandering until I came here. Doesn't mean I was hungry. I had a business. But I didn't have a business I was a prisoner to with a shop. I was a pending contractor. I had a van. I could go from place to place, from state to city, state to state. And when online marketing came, it was no longer word of mouth, but on Home Advisors, Angie's List. No matter where I went, I just changed the zip code and I always had a job within 2 or 3 days, 5-10 grand, a week or two. He provides. Not by my thinking, but my just going aimlessly, following him. So you've been called to give you a chance. But then you take out loans and you take out debt and you read this and you're Christians. Many are called, but few are chosen. The ones who chose you saw go all the way through, the rest of you. And it's a remnant, as it is written. And our job is, and your job is, and all in the kingdom, to come, is to let them know and show them the way, being the light. Not beating them up and swearing at them, and the law's not done away with, and saying all these things. Living it. Being it. That's a light. A light doesn't talk. It doesn't need to. You see the light, you go to it when you're in the darkness. Many people don't understand this either. They think they got to yell and scream. You're coming near the end, and this is the evolution of where you should be coming to. Those of you who have been called, but you're not. You see few out here of the chosen, and you recognize that in them. You shall know them by their works, as it is written. So you were chosen because you chose him first. You chose him first and he's seen it. So the chosen were chosen. It says he chose you from the foundations of the earth. Of course he did. Because before he started, he watched and he looked and he seen you and he seen who would choose him. And then he made sure he put a seal on each and every one throughout the generations and to this day. And they would make it, no matter what came up in this life. All the others of the many, well, they have a chance and opportunity. But they desire a job. They desire a car. They see somebody else. They see other people's children clothed well. They want to do it for theirs. These are all good things, and I understand, but at the same time, you don't need to be a slave in this world. When he said you shall live by the sweat of your brow in the garden, it's because at that time they didn't have to do anything. They were totally provided for. All the fruits and vegetables, everything was automatic, and there was an abundance everywhere. It wasn't freezing, it wasn't cold, it wasn't hot. There was no rain before Noah. That's why they thought Noah was nuts. Flood. It was the dew and the natural watering. Shelters weren't really needed. Everything was perfect. Temperature, weather, food. And when he said you'll live by the sweat of your brow, He did not mean that you would go get a job, take that money so you could have a place to live, that you could eat, that you could do this. No, what he meant by the sweat of your brow is now you will plant your food. You will take the seeds from this thing, and each seed brings forth its own. And you will get the fruits and the vegetables, and you will do this and you will do that. That's how you would live by the sweat of your brow. Producing it yourself. Not going to work as a slave to acquire money, to give it to them, to get the food. To go to work to acquire money, to get clothes, to give it to them who make it. We all and you all have the kingdom within you. The things you should be praying for is, Father, show me how to grow. I never done it. Show me this. And he'll lead you and guide you. And he'll lead you and guide you in this day and age into YouTube and other places to learn how to do these. And they're very simple. Beyond solar and wind, how to pull electricity right out of the air with resins. How to pull electricity right out of the ground. How to do it high voltage. Not needing batteries. You'll see the land and all the solar we got stuff, but stay tuned. The next year or so, you're going to see some amazing things. Shamara's here working, doing his work, laying it out. I won't point the camera. Dealing with capacitors and other things. Magnetic fields, magnetic force, electric resonance. You're going to see a power plant pumping anywhere from 10 to 50,000 volts, enough to light a city. And something so small and made, self-propelling, self-energizing. And so many of you suffer, and it breaks my heart as I watch the fear. Because you can't imagine life without money. Life without work the way they showed you and know it, which is a lie. It was never meant to be that way. They set it up this way to keep you prisoner. To keep you in servitude to them. And eventually, through especially the last 100 years, pulling everybody out and into cities. And even suburbs, which are still highly populated areas, and now nobody remembers how to live anymore free. Like the man and the woman who went out west 200 years ago in the United States. Or those who used to live in the desert. They used to live in the desert and grow food. And that's what we show here with the Biodigest, is how to accomplish these things. If you had the faith of a mustard seed, that means if you really knew. You know, with me, and when you grow and you're in the truth and you're in the chosen, and as you develop and he brings you along, not me or anybody else, I don't believe in anything. I know. I don't believe in Christ. I know. I don't believe in the Most High. I know. I don't believe they'll provide for me. I know that if I live the kingdom, and I do, best of my ability every day, and I will say, I don't trip up very much. And sometimes in my language and my attitude, people think I fail. Well, I'm a reaper of the field. And he said for men not to touch the field, but I'll send the angels in the end unless you lose one, because it's a filthy job. And it's not meant for men or women, or any other angels, but a few, to do the filthy work. And sometimes that takes an attitude, a personality, and words that they understand. And many like to judge me for that, and they've made me YouTube channels that are out there, putting devil's horns on my head, and you name it. Robbie and Shelley and Dexter, the people around me, have been thrown out of their churches just because they watched my videos, learned and started doing it, and doing public testimonies on videos. That was the big one. And then when these were seen by church leaders, and they're in different places, Robbie's in Florida, Shelley Ann's in Georgia, Dexter's in Texas, but nevertheless, when these were seen, they were told to take them down and get the hell away from me. I mean, who's told not to watch somebody on YouTube? And if they did not, then they were thrown out of their churches. My poor sister Robbie in Florida actually had like wanted posters put up of her throughout the congregations in the state of Florida not to go near her. Well, because an ugly old man like me is talking on a video. They see the Bible and the truth and they follow it. They're not following me, they're following the Bible. Right now you look and you say you're following me, but you're only following me because you're following the Bible. Outside of that, once you get what you need from me, you don't need me anymore. There's only so much in that book. People think it's a lifelong accomplishment. I can't be perfect. As it is written in Ezekiel, in that day I shall deal with them face to face and I shall cause them to sin no more. The churches gave you these excuses so you could stay sinning and just keep saying, I'm sorry. The chosen who are growing and in their hearts know these things. Many of the chosen who are of the many called, when they find me and a couple of us, and there's seven of us here, the 7 heads on that beast, the 7 fallen angels who created those nations. That's who those heads are. They rose up out of men, but they rule the 7 seas of shipping, and they rule one of each of the 7 continents. That's why there are 7 heads. And those nations and horns are ones that they created through the international shipping. Although they control the money, it's the shipping that is the full control, and you'll find that now. Look at this, you had Donald Trump, and I'm not on Trump's side or against Trump. I'm not on Biden's side or against Biden, or Putin or anybody else, none of my business. But Trump had this big trade war, and everybody went crazy and loved it. Some people hated it. Raising tariffs, I ask you this. Harbor Freight Tools has Chicago Tools. In Trump's trade war, another tool went up in price. He was screaming, China was screaming, Canada was screaming about all this trade war. But Harbor Freight Tools, Chicago Tools were all made in China, every one of them, and not a tool went up. What happened to the trade war? What happened to the skyrocketing prices? I mean, he was really jacking according to his presidential orders. As I said, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm not on his side or anybody's side. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Jew. I just speak the truth of my brother, and I speak the truth of my father, and I speak the truth of the kingdom. And if you know your word, then you understand and you hear the words I say and you see the things I see. If not, that's why you're called, because you don't want to know. You want to be ignorant. You want to ignore the truth. Doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you choose to ignore. It says, until the gospel goes out throughout the whole world. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I got people on here in every nation, in every country, in the poorest countries in Africa, in India, and you name it, everywhere in the world. And they're all on here. This phone I'm on right now recording, I don't pay a bill. It's been shut off for quite a while. Before this phone, I had another one for 5 years that was never paid. It's not on. But yet I can get on social media, and Facebook, and YouTube. Imagine that. No, I can't text like through the phone. I can't get phone calls. And I ask all of you, not to private message. It's a new page, but I'm already getting up to 150 to 200. Every one of you, or many multiples, sending me private messages. And to answer each one, I would never come out of private message. I could never make a video. I could never work the YouTube channel, build things I need to do. Doing the work in the wilderness, I do not do private message. And really not for that reason. You follow the way of the kingdom. The kingdom in Christ showed you everything in the light, nothing in the darkness. Why do you think, Satan is subtle. Why do you think they got private message? What the hell are you doing in private? Somebody says to me, how are you doing today in private message? I appreciate that. Do it on my wall, because there's 30 other people who just asked me in the last 5 minutes in private message how I'm doing. So if you ask me in comment, you'll look in the things, and I do the best I can to respond to everybody. At least while you're still in the hundreds. When you hit the thousands, I apologize. I can't respond to everybody. And there are times that you'll see me disappear for a couple of hours or days or a few weeks without posting or making a video. When my father moves, I make a video. When he doesn't, I don't move. Because he knows how to play this game with them. He knows when I should withdraw and give it a break. Too many comments, too much talks, don't you know? I get exclamation points, I can't comment anymore. And they don't give me notices. I just reply and they don't go through. But that happens rare because Father pulls me out. So there's many reasons about my work. Make no mistake about it, when I play guitar and stuff, oh yeah, that might be cool to some, and to others, they might say it's an ego thing. No, it's not. You see, when it's on YouTube, people who are into music go on to the music videos, they see that. If they subscribe for that, if they keep looking at them when I do that, then our other truth videos will show up. When I make and we make on the land, or Dexter in Hawaii make videos of building or gasification or biodigesters, planting, growing in your house. I have it here in the living room. It's how to grow food in the city, how to actually make soil within your house and fertilizer while you're doing that. By making a biodigester in your home in New York City and Times Square, you can do this. And never go outside when the time comes and use money. Rents will be free. I'm not going to get into that. You'll see what's going to unfold. It's one thing for sure, everybody has to come out of buying and selling. All cling to the beast. All have the number of his name or his image, it says, and you do. The images are here. You made an image to the beast. It speaks your telephone. All who cling to it will not be able to buy or sell without it. And all cling to the beast will go to the lake of fire, regardless of you say, I love Jesus, or I love Yeshua, or Yahweh, or whatever name you call him. If you're not following the way of the kingdom, you are Lord. Are you chosen? Only the depths of your heart knows. The struggle of your walk in fighting and looking at yourself as the piece of dirt that you are. And I have been. Confessing out loud, like it says. I put Robin's testimony. Sharing the house. I put hers up. Suggest you watch it and learn how to do a testimony, a real one. You don't know what a testimony is, even if you think you do. And how it's done and what it is and the elements and the structure. It's 30 minutes, and it's real. Repentance brings shame and tears. Deliverance brings joy and laughter. And it's all in that video. And deliverance, drug addiction of 25 years every day. And the second time. Today, I don't even recognize her from what she was 5 years ago, 8 years ago. Shamar and Dexter and all around me, Shelly and Robbie. There's many out there. This is what it takes. This is what it is. And we bring the truth to the world, and that's your job. But like I just told you, we choose, and that's eternal life, because it's peace and it's love and it's agreement and no debates. But once you bring the truth, and they say they're gay, or say they're in business and they're about money, or whatever the case may be, or they're calling out as cheating, thief, whatever it is, and they don't do it, you shut up and leave them alone. Why? Because they have free will. And Father wants them to choose, just like you. And you'll go to your reward for the free will and choice that you have made, and desire and struggle to do it. They have their desires in sexuality and finance and business or material things that they have their desires for. And he loves both good and evil, and they will dwell and prosper together for a while. And when they're done, they'll go to their reward. You've never heard this like this, but this is what it is. It's their reward. You get, of the chosen, what you have desired. Peace, love, caring not for yourselves, but others. When you do that, everybody else is caring about you. You don't need to care about yourself now, do you? When I'm caring for everybody else in heaven, I never think of myself. Let's say I think of a glass of water before I even think, wow, I'm surrounded. You don't have to, if you don't think about yourself, and you're with all the same, you don't have to think about yourself, because they're taking care of you and you're taking care of them. You understand the cycle? This isn't communism or socialism. This is the kingdom. Any others who go to their reward? The businessman who wants to hustle, get over on this guy, put this guy out, be better than him, climb the ladder. Well, he'll go to his reward. The same as him. You see, there's nobody else to take advantage of but each other now. And it's only a matter of time before they destroy each other. The child molester, the sex fiend, the porn nut, the sex addiction. I'm not putting it down. Everybody's had it. I've had everything. I've been through everything, so I understand you. Blind, naked, miserable, born, don't even know it. He's writing to angels in those books. He's not writing to churches. Why would John be writing to angels in the book of Revelations? Why are the stars in the hand? Why aren't we standing there with Christ amongst the stands? Because we're not there. We live, we learn, we experience firsthand, from the gutters, from junkies to drunks, we're everything. Be careful who you entertain and all that good stuff. So now the rapist or the child molester or everybody else, or you guys who want to run around and screw around and get laid, that's fine, and you go to your reward. With those just like you, what does a rapist do when there's nobody left to rape but the rapists raping each other? We're all separate compartments, we're all separate rewards. These are rewards. Why? Because they loved it here. Just like you love the kingdom here, and you're chasing the kingdom. They've been chasing this all their life, and they will go in the end to what they desired. The only thing is no matter what category you're in, liar, con artist, cheat, thief, pervert, money hungry, chasing, desiring, envying, well, you'll go with your own. The only problem is when you're with your own, there's nobody else. You follow me? And it's only a matter of time before you destroy each other. And this is the lake of fire. It's torments. You think it's fun here because there's others here to take advantage of you. You think it's finance. You think it's fun here because it's business and you're getting over. You think it's good here because you got a house and you got this. When others don't, you feel good and you feel like somebody and you got a nice car and you're driving down the street. But when you're with your own kind and there's nothing left, it is not fun. It's a nightmare. And you're ripping each other apart. And then, of course, you get the demons who are laughing at you. And the fallen ones, and they're ripping you apart, saying, welcome home, we're here. With the combination of all of this brings a termination of existence, of life, eternal. So that's the chosen. That's the many are called. Just because people go, the whole world's got to get it. You're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're in other places. People see things in feeds. Just because they pass it by doesn't mean they didn't have a chance. Somebody's been crawling through the bushes in Zimbabwe and popped up in some jungle little place in a little village. Somebody and everybody at this time has heard and has had chance. And I have them from all over the earth here, in all these places. They send me videos of their little get-togethers for what you call churches. Some of them are in a little shack, 10 little kids and a couple adults. Others huge. Many of the pastors are here and things are spreading. But nevertheless, the word has gone out and it is going out. And a lot of people rely on that. They'll go to that. Well, it can't be near the end because it's going to go to the whole earth. And what about the remote places? It's in remote places. The Philippines and the remote places are here. I have China here. Go look at my friends. How do I get China when there's a wall? They're here. I got Russia here. The walls do not stop. And my Father gets the chosen from everywhere. And he will gather you, and the angels will gather from the four winds and the four corners. It's hard to imagine, but it's right here on Facebook and YouTube, and you're all here together. So enjoy each other's company. And I won't always be able to comment like I have been, answering a lot of you in the last day or two as this page is growing, because it will grow again. And when it grows so big, it'll be blown up again, or it'll be taken down. And the same thing with the YouTube. They'll attack me, force me out to start again. Building up and ripping down, building up and ripping down, building up and tearing down. That's all that goes on with me. And each time it's a whole new group of people. Some of the old ones stay, dragged along because they were the chosen. Father wants them around. Others are the ones who are called but are struggling and trying and coming in. But every time it's a large part of new people. As many years I've been doing this, It's millions upon millions upon millions. And I need not be in one place too long. And please don't call me good, sir, pastor. I'm none of those things. Just a man. Gabriel the man. Doing my job. Showing you the things that I showed. Michael and Raphael, that's what they're doing in their places. The prophecies and things that were given them and the messengers that they had as messengers to the prophets and apostles and others. They're here to explain in simple, practical application so that people can understand and come down to reality of the Bible and stop looking at men as movie stars and the great apostles and the great prophets. They were the same as you and I. And you don't understand, and that's what they're doing and I'm doing. And that's why I am on every continent. And their messages go forth through me. I'm just a little different. Because I'm the only man. And when you go into Enoch and other books, you'll find I've never been invisible in heaven. I'm the only one. I'm different from all the other angels. I'm always a man, even in heaven. I'm in flesh and blood always. I've never been invisible. When I went to Daniel on flight, I was not flying, I was running. Do not add or take away from that word. I don't say these things to boast because there's nothing to boast about. I say these things so you have the reality of the word. And all the world puts down the Muslims and hate the Muslims. I'll tell you what, my Muslim brothers and sisters have never questioned, because they have a reality of angels coming up and down Jacob's ladder in the flesh over the years. The Christians have turned it into idol worship. Imaginary fluffy sweet beings. You're all in for a surprise. We love. The only difference between us and you is the angels, when they are born, are aware of their existence that second. Men and women, their spirits are created and they lay in slumber and wait their turn to come, and you're not aware of your existence until you hit your flesh. Outside of that, the spirits and everything about us are exactly the same. Identical twins. We're all the same. Men and angels. One aware of their existence first. The others aware of existence after they are awake and put into the flesh bodies in the tangible world. So I hope this helps you with some understanding and get your feet down to reality. Stops you from shaking and crying in churches or whatever you're doing. And keep in mind when I say this thing about churches, and it's one-on-one, I'm not putting down getting together once a week with those in congregations. And in fact, many of the awakening, especially black Hebrew Israelites, they all took off out of the Christian churches or wherever they came from, or those who were Muslim and left the mosque. What do? Gather yourselves to yourselves. Many, you can stay in your places. Go. They're doing the best they can. It says don't mix with them. You don't have any, what are you doing? You shouldn't be with them. He's talking about your everyday life and their desires and their work and their beliefs, and don't mix and mingle that way. But to go to a church or a mosque or a congregation after you woke up and you've left, you can go back silently. Here and there when the opportunity hits, you may say something. You'll see there's something different in you. But basically you shut your mouth and you have the light. And they see how you act. They see you not putting money in the plate, but they see you outside, grabbing a young man who's hungry and dirty and stinks, brings him home, says, I'd like to have you stay, but the people who I rent from, I'm only allowed to have a guest. You can stay a day or two, but I'll help you. If they're allowed to stay, you'll see that person, keep them in their home. This is what the children of the kingdom do, laying down their lives. Many are called, but few are chosen. is hope that all be saved. The two shall go out to the four corners of the earth, and the four winds the angels shall gather. The messages in Revelation, the three shall come and tell you exactly what the mark of the beast is. So I hope I've taken away your delusion of angels, waiting for one to pop up in the sky and the whole world sees the same time and says, this is the mark of the beast, okay? His ways are not your ways, and your ways are not his ways. And he's not a tyrant. And he's always telling us when we're home, well, you guys get out of here and go do something. He laughs as we bow and scream and love him so much, and he consumes us. We don't want to go anywhere. The kingdom isn't bowing down all day long screaming how great he is. He made the creation. He wants you to enjoy it, and each other, and Christ too. That's why he created little brothers and sisters. He's our example, and he's a fine one at that. I love you all. Tawada Shalom. My heart is always with all of you, and don't be afraid.